When you're talking about a bigger gap in favor of Republicans for Hispanic, Latino voters going red, essentially, going for the Republican Party, than white male voters, you're watching a major political realignment happening, in a sense, right now, in clear response to the failures of the Biden administration.
Democrats view the party as weak, a large number of them. There's also such sharp criticism of the president reacting too slowly. What's the signal here for Democrats?
Well, the biggest one, and you talked about it with Anthony and with Congressman Jeffries there, the fact that young voters, black voters, Latino voters now also are in agreement that the president isn't necessarily doing enough to take on the economic challenges and inflation. That's the secret sauce. If you can't convince young people, black people, Latino voters in this state, like Georgia, and others across the country, you're going to see Democrats lose big statewide elections.
That was on CBS, and the Democrats are ringing the alarm bells, Clay, over not just the usual Republican off-year midterm election momentum situation, but when you're talking about a bigger gap in favor of Republicans for Hispanic, Latino voters going red, essentially, going for the Republican Party, than white male voters. You're watching a major political realignment happening, in a sense, right now, in clear response to the failures of the Biden administration. But I would just put this out there. The funniest thing for the press, because they have to do this, right? It's the same thing every month we've had the inflation numbers going up, is now they're like, oh, gosh, guys, like, Biden's really not so good at this economy thing. Who could have ever? And you and me and every person listening to this right now all across the country is going, we told you so, you idiots. This was the most predictable thing you could ever imagine.
Not only that, this destroys the entire identity politics argument of the Democrats. Because if you've got Hispanics breaking for Republicans like is occurring right now, how in the world do you argue? You got Asians breaking, you got black people breaking Republican. All of this is happening. And honestly, it happened in 2020. It just got snowed under by all the COVID insanity. It really almost becomes impossible for the entire narrative that Democrats foist upon us daily, which is America's a fundamentally racist country and Republicans represent the worst of American history. Well, if overwhelmingly minorities are rejecting that argument, it's only liberal white people who are trying to sell that argument. It destroys the entire basis for the entire Democrat worldview.
The reality of the Republican Party right now is we are telling every black and Latino voter across the country who's not already a Republican, please come join our side. Please come be a part of what we're doing here.
We want you to be a part of the party.
Please join Team Reality, where we have lower taxes and less regulation and more freedom. You are more than welcome. We'd love to have you.
And you can get a job.
Yeah, and you can get a job, and the future is bright.